a different look. Just a different look. We're going to try this again. Let's pop. I'm just going to make sure the stream's actually going. I know we're going on Twitter and Facebook. So welcome back in. It's a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. Redoing the stream. Twitter and Facebook never lose the stream the same way that YouTube does. I'm just going to retweet it. All right. Anyways, what were we talking about, Liam? We were in the middle of our three big things, and we were talking about Yamamoto. Now we're talking about Nuge. Can he hit 40 goals this year?
Right. That was the question. Can Ryan, what's he at now? 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I don't think anyone expected him to actually get to 30 goals this season. So the fact is, at this point, we may as well just bank on him to get to 40. I think at minimum, I can see like 37, but if he just gets a couple of 2-goal performances in there and then he just has to grab 6 along the way in the final 17 games, is it? Are we that far? Is it 18 games? I can't remember, but either way, he's or maybe it was 19. I don't know. But yeah, I think Nugent Hopkins can get to 40. There's no doubt about that in my mind.
I didn't name the YouTube thing properly, but I think we're rolling. I think we got something cooking up here. A little Saturday stream. We grinded through our stream issues. It's a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day. I wasn't just gonna bail and take the rest of the day off. Damn it, we probably could have just bailed and taken the rest of the day off. Anyways, I'm getting the YouTube stream all the way it should be right now. There we go. All right, we're back. Hello. I think the stream is solid as well. Re-hit the like button. I'm sure we won't get back up to the number of viewers we were at before. But yeah, we updated the stream name. We're cruising here, Liam. You might have to go update the thumbnail. So there's your behind-the-scenes look at how this stuff usually works. Tyler Yaremchuk, beers would be good. Yeah, man, I am very excited for right when this show ends to crack a beer and get into it. But it's a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day. We are still breaking down last night's win over the Jets. Drop in the chat. What was the most impressive part of that victory last night as the Oilers double up the Winnipeg Jets 6-3? My third big thing, number 1 was Yamo. Number 2 was Nuge. Number 3, how about Leon Draisaitl? That was the most engaged I'd seen Leon Draisaitl in a long time, Liam. Like, he was back checking hard. He was playing physical. When he scored, he had that big celebration on the first one. And then his second goal, for him to put the net back on and then get it, wait for Rittich to move, and then pop it over his shoulder into basically enough space where the puck could fit. That's where he put that shot. Unreal game from Draisaitl. Best he's looked in months.
Yeah, he looks like the Draisaitl we've known for a while, like you kind of mentioned there. So, yeah, I mean, that goal where he just put it through. I think the crazy part about it was, obviously, he put the net back on and he got into position. But, like, if you watch the highlight from the angle of kind of down low there, he waits for David Rittich to move, and then the gap gets tighter, and he still takes the shot. And it was truly, I don't know, like, I feel like that's such an underrated goal for what he just did. Like, is that not just as good as like skating through 5 guys to put it through a gap that small? Like, it's remarkable what he's been able to do with that goal. It's kind of similar to earlier in the year when we spoke about, remember when he did that one between his legs, the tip between his legs into the net, and we were kind of debating if that one was good. Like, he just does these sneaky goals, which are like super undervalued for how high end of skill you need to do to accomplish them. But yeah, that pass to, I think it was it between the legs one? I think it was the Nugent Hopkins goal that he did it off the boards. Like, he was buzzing. So hopefully this is kind of Neon Leon getting hot here as we head down the stretch.
Yeah, I love what you said. Like, he waited because I think he thought, again, the gap would open up, and Rittich actually played it well, like squaring up more to the shot, and Draisaitl was still like, whatever, I can probably pick this. Boom, does it. Sick. Let's get into what you all in the chat thought about the game last night. QF Pro says, Yamamoto. Tyson giving a shout out to Leon for fixing the net and sniping the corner. Mulick said, Ekholm, he's a difference maker. And he also, who was it? Tyson talked about how he gave Nuge the little push to make it back in the play. Nuge breaks up the play, fires it back. Like, Matthias Ekholm, again, I think we all recognized when they got him, he was going to be a shutdown D-man who helps them really calm things down in their own end. But I think I would probably speak for a lot of the fan base when I'd say it's surprising how effective he is in every zone. Like, this guy likes jumping up in the play. He's a very, very smart hockey player, and his first pass is also very good. Like, he brings a lot of things that this team desperately needed. I would argue his first pass is better than Tyson Barrie's. Like, Barrie was a good puck moving D-man. He was electric in the offensive zone. He always seemed to know when and was the smart time to make a pinch in the O zone. But in terms of a good, hard, reliable first pass out of the D zone, I think Ekholm is the best they got. He is without a doubt their best defenseman.
Yeah, he is. And I think it's kind of weird. It's only been 2 games, but there's some habits now that I've seen in other defensemen that I'm finding have trickled into the games just the past 2. Like, kind of a bit more physicality and aggression I saw last night, especially from Bouchard and Broberg. And Nurse a little bit too, but he's kind of always been like that. But I wonder if that's just like a small thing that's already kind of started to happen. But yeah, I think Ekholm is just all around better than expected. I know it's early on, but the defensive work is solid. He's really good at like stopping the rush. And then also, just like you said, his outlet passes. I feel like it's something he just doesn't overthink. He just basically just passes the puck and just does it, where maybe more offensive players overthink what they're trying to do, and it's not as successful. But for him, it's just, I'm just going to bank this off the boards and put it on Leon Dreisaitl's tape down the board. So yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing a lot. And actually, we got asked a question. I guess I'll ask you this if you've seen the mailbag questions this week, Tyler.
Yeah.
Do you think, and maybe it's hard to say now because we have Ekholm, but do you think he's more effective than what Erik Karlsson could have been for this team with everything he just kind of brings?
Yeah, I just submitted my mailbag answers for Monday on Oilersnation.com as well. So this answer is right on the top of my head. I think Erik Karlsson was never a realistic acquisition in season. It just wasn't going to happen. And I said that the entire time. I was like, would Erik Karlsson look great here? Yes. Would it be a ton of fun? Yes. But it was never going to happen. Mattias Ekholm was a realistic option to acquire during the season. You had to pay a lot to get him, but you would have had to pay probably more to go get Erik Karlsson, because it would have been, again, getting all that money out the door, paying San Jose to take all that money. It would have been significant. Karlsson would have made you electric on the power play. His first pass also would have been great. He would have helped you move the puck out of your zone. He could very well win the Norris this year as the league's top defenseman, although that is an award that generally shades towards offensive D-men, right? There is no award for the best pure defensive defenseman. Part of me feels silly answering the question at all because Karlsson was never going to happen. Ekholm was the best guy on the market that you could get. But I do think there is an argument to be made that he is a better peer fit on this team and makes them better than Karlsson. And it sounds weird saying that because Karlsson is an all-time defenseman and, again, might win the Norris this year. But you look at the areas where the Oilers needed help. In their own end, defending the rush, penalty kill. What areas has Ekholm been really effective in since he got here? Granted, I know it's only been 2 games, 12 or 6 periods. Been good in his own end, been great defending his own blue line off the rush. The amount of times he just jumps up with that quick little poke check, knocks the puck off, disrupts the play. Even if it doesn't go back the other way, he disrupts the other team's flow at least coming into the zone. That's been great. He's been solid on the penalty kill. He's been good in his own end. He's been exactly what this team needed. And I get that maybe this is a little bit of like a shiny new toy thing where we're just seeing all the things we love about Ekholm. And at some point he might plateau a bit. We might start to notice some deficiencies, some bad habits in his game as it goes on. But right now, I don't think you're insane to say that his impact is just as good, maybe even better when you consider the areas he's touching compared to an Erik Karlsson.
Yeah, and I think the biggest factor is he improves the team in a way that they were pretty poor in. Not poor, but not that good in, where Karlsson just adds to the greatness, I guess is a good way to put it. So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Erik Karlsson wouldn't have been an effective player on this team, but I do think overall Mattias Ekholm probably adds that little bit of extra flavor that the Oilers needed a little bit more.
Yeah. Let's check in on what's going on in the live stream here. Tyler Mulick brought up the tweet. So it was December 31, 2018. This was the Oilers lineup as they played in Winnipeg. McDavid centering Jujhar Khaira and Ty Ratty. Nuge centering Lucic and Puljujarvi, a rookie Puljujarvi that year, I believe. Draisaitl centering Toby Reeder, who was goalless, and Ryan Spooner Brodziak centering Gambardella and Cassian, Jones with Larson, Nurse with Petrovic, Manning with Benning, Koskinen in net. This team has come quite a long ways in 5 years when you look at that lineup and compare it to what they throw out there on a night-to-night basis right now. Even compare that to the lineup last night, which doesn't have Evander Kane, which doesn't have Dylan Holloway, although maybe he might not even be in the lineup when he's healthy now because they've gotten so much deeper up front. That lineup last night didn't have Nick Bukestad, who could very well debut tonight as well. So, I mean, they've come a long way. I applaud Ken Holland for the way he's built up the forward group on this team. And I know a lot of people don't like giving Ken Holland credit. Made sure Nuge didn't walk as a free agent, signed Zach Hyman to a good contract as a free agent. Is it going to age well? Probably not. No free agent. Rarely do you see a free agent contract age well. But in the 3 to 4, 5 years, that first chunk of that deal, it's going to be great. The Evander Kane contract, same thing. For the next number of years, that is going to be a great deal. He gave them 3 bona fide top 6 players to play with McDavid and Draisaitl, and that is what other general managers really failed to do. I applaud Ken Holland for the way he took, again, look over in the chat at that lineup Tyler Mulick posted and compare it to what they are now, miles different.
Yeah, it's crazy. That doesn't even sound like an NHL lineup for half those players, to be honest. So, yeah, it truly shouldn't have been. So it just shows, where the Oilers were, however long ago, 5 years ago, I think you said, to where they are today. Like, this team is legit. And I think sometimes we get lost in how good they actually are. And there's obviously holes, and this team needed to be improved over the deadline. And you could argue there's still probably a hole or two. But at the end of the day, like, it's in a position now and stronger than it's been in a while. And yeah, that's credit to Ken Holland and his staff just to kind of get it there. And also Jay Woodcroft for the job he's done coaching this team to make them a legit team in the NHL. There was a thing the other day, I think from the day Jay Woodcroft was hired. Now, I could be wrong. I can't remember if it was the league or in the Western Conference, but the Edmonton Oilers had the best record for whatever it was, the league or the NHL, just to kind of show what level they're playing at the moment.
Yeah. Big 6-3 win last night. I want to talk about some lineup stuff in just a second with you, Liam. But first, I want to take a look. They're getting no help on the out-of-town scoreboard right now, and it is very annoying. Last night, Seattle beat Columbus. Vegas won. Vegas 5-3-0 in their last 8 games. All 5 of those wins have been by 1 goal. They are just greasy and sneaking out victories more often than not. And it is very annoying because last night they beat a good Devils team by 1 goal. And that was one that I had circled as a chance for the Oilers to gain some ground on the Golden Knights. That is not the case. So Edmonton still sits in the top wildcard spot. They are tied with Seattle, but Seattle has a game in hand, 2 back of LA. Same amount of games played now, so you're right there behind LA, and you are 4 back of the Vegas Golden Knights. They have a game in hand on you as well. Tonight's out-of-town scoreboard, because we are in the stretch drive, and we need to start paying attention to stuff like this. Minnesota taking on Calgary, St. Louis taking on LA. Although I will add, Liam, it is getting to the point where it is very hard for the Calgary Flames to catch anyone, not just the Edmonton Oilers. They are 9 points back of the Oilers with a game in hand. But even if they win that, 7 games back with 19 games to go in today's NHL with the loser point existing, it is very hard to catch teams like that.
Yeah, there's going to have to be a massive swing if Calgary want to become relevant in this specific race again, which seems very unlikely. Like you said, I think they're more focused on, okay, let's just try and get into a wild card spot. And you even look at Winnipeg too. Like, I know they're only 4 points back of the Oilers, but they've fallen back a ton these last couple of weeks. And last night, I think, was a good example of why they've fallen back. I don't think their goaltending has been as good as it should be. And defensively, they're allowing some chances too. And obviously, I think the Oilers had 9 power plays last night. And then just the frustration that kind of leaked in towards the end of the game too. But I think just on the out-of-town scoreboard, eventually it's gotta help the Oilers at some point, right? Like, one of these days we're gonna look at it and be like, all right, nice. Well, they've got 2 wins in a row, and Vegas and Seattle both lost both their games or whatever. So I think it'll come around. And the Oilers do have games. I think they have 1 more against Vegas, right?
Yes, I believe so. I'll double check that.
So those are the ones those are the ones they got to make count a little bit more. I think they could maybe got another one against Seattle, and then they end the season with like 3 against the Ducks or 3 against the Sharks or something. I can't remember, but it'll come around. Those divisional games are the ones that count the most.
Yeah, so this month they play Seattle on the 18th. That's a big game. They play Dallas on the 16th, and that's a chance to gain some ground on a team you can maybe catch for top spot in the West. And they play Vegas twice this month, at home on the 25th and then in Vegas on the 28th. I mean, there's a lot of big hockey games. Dallas, Seattle, Vegas, LA to end the month. And I mean, you still got to do that gauntlet on the road next week when you go Buffalo, Boston, Toronto. Buffalo's taking it to Tampa Bay right now, I believe. I saw someone on Twitter was talking about that. So it's a tough schedule here. Then when you get to the final month of the season in April, it does, I want to say, get a little bit easier. You play LA and Colorado, tough games, but you also go Anaheim, San Jose. So again, you want to look at the chances of them. They're not going to slip out of the playoffs, but if you want to be a doomsday and be like, oh, they haven't clinched yet, Calgary has to gain 7 points on them, and Edmonton gets to go Anaheim, San Jose in the last 2.5 weeks of the regular season. That right there should be 2 or 3 wins, worst case scenario. You're going to be a playoff team. The Flames are likely going to miss unless Winnipeg or Seattle keep on slipping through the standings here. For me, the goal for the Oilers should be top spot in the division still. And my minimum expectation for them is that you finish with home ice advantage in round 1 somehow.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too. Like the top 2 spot in the division, if that's how it ends at the end of the year, I'll be very happy with that. I would like them not to finish in third or a wild card spot. I think that just makes it a little bit more difficult for them. But also saying that, I think the Oilers can beat any team in the league. And this last little stretch here has really proven that. I think we were, and understandably so too, like we were worried coming into this stretch. But you look at it as, okay, your goaltending didn't hold up against the Rangers in Colorado, but you should have probably won those games. You lose a tight one against Boston, and you beat Toronto and Winnipeg. Like, I'm more worried about the Oilers playing the worst teams in the league than the best teams in the league, which is brutal to say. But yeah, I put the Oilers against any team in the NHL. And I think it was, like you said it off on the other stream, Tyler Yaremchuk said the Oilers were the team to beat, right? Just to give him some credit.
Yeah, I think so. It's hard to argue against that, at least in the Western Conference. They did the most at the deadline in terms of adding an impact piece in Ekholm. No one else added a piece as good as Matthias Ekholm. They should be considered, them in Colorado. Like Colorado, I mean, still the defending Cup champs, got to put some respect on their name. And they're a team where if they win their games in hand, I believe they're going to be top in their division and close to top in the conference as well. They'd be like 1 point back of Vegas, and they're starting to get healthier. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10 games as well. So, and Colorado, probably the team to beat in the Central. Oilers, I think they are the dogs, or the big dogs in the Pacific Division. I was just looking at this because you talked about, or you briefly mentioned, like the last year and a bit for the Oilers since March 4th, 2022. So 1 calendar year, counting only the regular season, the Oilers have accumulated the second most points in the Western Conference. Only the Minnesota Wild have picked up more points than the Oilers. Also, regulation wins. The Oilers are third most in the NHL in the last calendar year when it comes to regulation wins. And when you look at the standings this year, the Oilers have scooped up 32 regulation wins so far this season. No other team in the West is even at 30. In fact, Seattle at 29 is next, right behind them. You might be sitting there saying, why do I care about regulation wins for the Oilers? That's the top tiebreaker in the standings. So when you look at a situation like Seattle being tied with the Oilers with a game in hand, if they lose that game in hand, the Oilers jump them in the standings because Edmonton holds the number 1 tiebreaker of regulation wins. They hold it cleanly over LA. They're up by 7. They have 5 more than Vegas. That's a big thing for the Oilers because all of a sudden you're not trying to actually jump teams. You just need to get tied with them in points and you're going to finish higher in the standings. That's a big advantage when you consider how tight this division is right now.
Yeah, 100%. It's essentially just an extra point an invisible point in a way if you win in those regulation games kind of thing. So, and also to me, it shows that the Oilers have the ability in the playoffs to close out games and not put us through some stressful overtime matches too. So, yeah, I think it is big to get it done. And also considering their overtime record, I'm very happy they got it done in 60 minutes rather than an extra 5, however long a shootout goes too.
if we get up to 200 concurrent viewers on a stream that we had to restart with like the most basic graphic layout, Liam, I will crack a beer live on this stream. We're at 141 right now. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on the Nation Network YouTube. It's a Sherwood 4 Giant Game Day edition of the show, and I can do this. I can give a shout out to the Sports Closet as well. Coming to you live from the Sports Closet studio. Checking in what's going in the chat. Michael Boucher. I don't know if I've ever seen him in the chat. If it's your first time, Michael, welcome. It might be Michelle, actually, now that I'm reading that as well. Please give me the proper pronouncer on your name. He asks, is Nick Bjugstad playing tonight? Yes, Nick Bjugstad is expected as of this moment to make his Oilers debut wearing number 72. I am assuming that he got the okay from Hunter the Lynx to wear the number 72. I think they'll do a funny video between the two of them when they're back in Edmonton. But my question, I guess, is, Liam, what would you do with Bjugstad tonight? Where would you play him? Are you taking someone out of the lineup? Do you maybe go 12-6 this evening? Or do you, maybe pop out Devon Shore, swap in Bjugstad, keep going 11-7?
Do you know what? And chat won't like this. I might take Desharnais out the lineup and go 12-6 and just put maybe a Kulak on the right side and keep Broberg on the left, or maybe experiment and put that Matthias Ekholm on the right side and see if it actually does work, and maybe playing with Broberg. But I thought Desharnais has struggled a little bit. I think there's been some visible frustration, like the slash on Pasternak the other day. He had that bad turnover on the penalty kill. I think he's just not simplified his game like he did when he first started here. So I would do that. And to Devon Shore's credit, he almost scored last night on that nice backhand right off the bar too. Like, man, that would have been a nice goal. I'm truly not convinced that is Devon Shore in that number 19 jersey. I'm sure they've acquired somebody else and just put him on there. But either way, like, he's in there on that scrum too. Logan Stanley takes that greasy run at Derek Ryan as well. But yeah, I think I'm going 12-6, and I would probably put Bjugstad on the, I don't know, somewhere on the bottom 6 and on the right wing to start with, and then go from there. But I saw reports today too that people think he could even play in the top 6 on the right wing, and he does have some offensive touch to him, so we'll see.
If you don't follow WoodGuy55 on Twitter, I would, because he talked a little bit about Bjugstad. If you're like kind of into the analytics, like I just think Woodguy presents his stuff in a really, really nice way. But he talked a little bit about if maybe they should play Bjugstad in a meaningful role. And listen, I'm really excited to see what Bjugstad can bring to this lineup. I'm always hesitant of a guy who plays top line minutes, gets power. I know he scored a lot at 5-on-5, but I'm hesitant on Bjugstad, but I'm ready to embrace him because I do like the idea of a big right shot body in this lineup. I think he could be effective. And Wood Guy talked about, the numbers he has with kind of talented players. And maybe Bjugstad could be a fit on a top 6 line. I don't think I want to just throw him there right off the jump. I think I want to ease him into this lineup. And I think that would make me want to go 12-6 and scratch Desharnais as well. He's starting to make some mistakes. He still made a couple good plays last night, but there was a few moments where I was kind of like, "Ooh, what are you doing, Vinny?" He is still learning the NHL game. And scratching him is not a punishment at all. But I do think there's something to be said of when you pop upstairs, you watch the ice, you get a night off. It's almost like a chance to reset, and maybe it could bring him back to the form when he first jumped into the lineup. So I would go tonight 12-6, which means you're actually going to run proper lines for the whole game. I would give Warren Fogle a shot with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman. Warren Fogle's playing some great damn hockey right now. This is the best he's looked as an Edmonton Oiler. This is what we were hoping for early in the year when we started talking about Warren Fogle. And I love it. So I'd play Fogle with McDavid and Hyman. I'd play Draisaitl with Nuge and Yamamoto, reunite the Dry Ryan Kai line. I would go McLeod with Costin and Janmark, and that would leave me with a fourth line of Derek Ryan, Devon Shore, and Nick Bjugstad. Maybe you might be like, hey, you're not playing Bjugstad with enough skill. I want to ease him into things. Give him easy matchups. Play him with just two guys who play a very simple brand of hockey. Let him get his feet under him with the Oilers. I don't know if it'd be the best idea to be like, yeah, we're playing you with McDavid game 1. Have fun. I think that might be like a little overwhelming.
Yeah, I actually like what Vincent said there too about the physicality of the game. Maybe that's why Vincent Desharnais could stay in the lineup tonight if he is. I understand that, but the Bjugstad on the fourth line thing, I don't disagree, and I think when Puljujarvi was here and he was playing with Devon Shore and Derek Ryan, they found a lot of success. So maybe having that bigger body on that line to protect the puck a little bit more and maybe get on the cycle some more can create some offensive zone pressure. But yeah, I'm with you, Tyler. I don't know if I would elevate him too far up the lineup. Now, if the game gets into the Oilers' favor in the last 10 minutes and they're up by 3 goals or something like that, then maybe I would start pushing him up a little bit and playing him with a bit more skill. But I don't think you need to overdo it with this guy. He's not coming to this lineup to score 30 goals. He's coming to this lineup to create some more depth and just have a good NHL player down there, So yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Mainlander Tim does make a good point, though. Why can't we leave guys alone who are playing well? Leave Fogle playing his game, not worried about getting the puck to Connor. And I actually think that's a half decent point. Fogle's playing well in the bottom 6, so why not let him just stay where he's effective? So maybe you run Fogle, McLeod, Janmark again. Maybe Klim Kostin gets a bump up in the lineup. Maybe you move Derek Ryan up the lineup, although I'm not sure if I love that idea. Maybe you play Nuge with McDavid. The point is they have depth. They have players who can play multiple positions. Jay Woodcroft has a ton of options. Woodcroft did say he's going to start with Bukestad at center, so that probably tells you a little bit right there about where he's going to slot the 4C to start. We'll see who's on his wing pair. So yeah, they won't play him with McDavid or Draisaitl. He's going to start as a centerman. Maybe they'll go 11-7, and that'll, it worked last night, so why would you mess with what worked last night? They ended up scoring 6 goals. They doubled them up. The starting goalies tonight, someone did say that they believe it's going to be Connor Hellebuck again for the Winnipeg Jets, which makes a lot of sense. I had someone tweet me. It was Shane EDM on Twitter. David Rittich, since the stick flip incident back in January of 2020, winless in 4 games against the Oilers, 12 goals against on 71 shots, a 4.68 GAA, and 831 save percentage, the worst save percentage of the 21 goalies who've played at least 4 games since the Oilers since January of 2020. McDavid's lit him up for 10 points. Draisaitl's lit him up for 9 points. Probably a good move by the Jets to go back to Hellebuck and not play Rittich.
I would disagree. Play him. Revenge. Let him get his revenge, right?
He's new, right? He can't be this bad against the Oilers all the time.
Exactly. He's going to want that one back that he let in on Draisaitl last night. But, man, those players know. Those players will never, ever forget what David Rittich did to them with that stick flip and try to embarrass him. Now, clearly, every single time they take him on, they do whatever they can to burn that guy. And I absolutely love it. I do not like David Rittich, and I do not like the Winnipeg Jets, so they are a fantastic duo in my eyes, and I love it when we just bounce them like we did last night, and I'm hoping that can happen again today.
Yeah. Someone says they hope they can bet on the number of, or they wish they could bet on the number of penalties tonight. I think over 1.5 power play goals might be a really safe play, because that game last night, Liam, it got spicy towards the end. Logan Stanley with a super greasy hit from behind, and you can tell he was just going out there to try and mess stuff up, because he hit him. Shore didn't want to fight. Devon Shore had no interest in dropping the mitts there, but Logan Stanley hit him, shed him, turned around like with his gloves off, and was like, "Who's fighting me?" And Devon Shore, I think, was probably a little like, "Shit."
Like, I guess I am. Yeah. I wish there was someone bigger out there who could have taken on Logan Stanley, because for me there was deliberate intent to hurt in that play with the reaction of and like sometimes I get it, like you hit those guys and it happens, but the fact he hit him and there was no hesitation but to turn around and drop his gloves immediately, he knew exactly what he was doing. That was an intent to hurt, in my opinion, and I'm not surprised the league didn't do anything about it, because quite frankly, they miss these things all the time. Yeah. But there was even the cross check right across Broberg's neck too. And
oh my God, that was
I think it was maybe a bit of an accident to catch him where he did, but the fact is he did it. So I'm expecting some fireworks tonight, and you know what? Maybe I am turning away from taking Vincent Desharnais out of the lineup after we're talking about all this stuff, but I'm expecting that from VD, Klim Shady, and whoever else wants to get involved. The Nuge, our enforcer, of course. So 4-0 in his career. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it tonight.
Yeah, and actually, I was just going to say, Vince made a great point in the chat. Tyler, we need Vinny in the lineup tonight because the Jets are going to be headhunting. And Curtis Bowie said, I want to see Vinny beat the wheels off Logan Stanley. Hey, Vinny, one of the guys who could probably look eye to eye with a guy as tall as Logan Stanley. So, yeah, maybe I take that back. You know what? The chat, you convinced me. 11-7 worked last night. And you might want Vinny in the lineup in case things get out of hand this evening. Run 11-7 again. Let that top 5 of the Oilers with McDavid, Nuge, Yamo, Dry, and I'm missing a name, Hyman. Let them keep running around like crazy, producing a ton of offense, and you have Vinny there to maybe fight if he needs to.
Can Bukestad, what's Bukestad like? Is he much of a fighter? What's his kind of role? Just heavy guy? No? Okay.
I think he's just tall. He's long Derek Ryan.
He's just tall. Okay. My dad actually had a very funny comment last night when we were watching the game. He's like, it's games like this I miss a player like Steve McIntyre.
Someone in the chat just said, Curtis just said, sign Big Mac for the day.
Oh, did they? Oh yeah, I see that now. Yeah, that'd be good. Bring up Steve Mack.
Jack Campbell expected, obviously, to get the start tonight. I thought Stuart Skinner was fine last night. One of those games where like a goalie just doesn't face a lot of shots. And when he does, he faces a couple of good looks, and then that hurts his save percentage ultimately. He was .893 on the game, so he was a hair below 900, which is not ideal. But I didn't think any of those goals were like particularly weak. Granted, Jay and I had a handful of beers throughout that game, and the Jets didn't score till late, so I might be misremembering how their goals went in. But I don't think Stu was bad on any of them.
No, I think if I'm remembering through, the first one was kind of maybe a bad rebound, but there was no one there covering the forward. The Brendan Dillon one, Dillon was wide open, basically one-on-one with the goalie. You don't like your chances there. And I can't recall the third one, to be honest. But yeah, I didn't sit there and think, oh, Stu, you got to have those. I actually just kind of felt bad that they were going in after how well the Oilers had played. But one thing I would like to see tonight is there was a point midway through the third period where the second unit power play got out there to get some minutes on it, and it was 6-1 at the time, I think, or maybe even 5-0. But don't take your foot off, put it through them. Like, this is the NHL. Like, if it's 5 minutes left in the game, sure, but like, you also have Bouchard on the power play now, so I think it's good to get as many reps in as you can. So I'm sure we won't see that if it gets to that point tonight too.
190 in the stream, Liam. Uh-oh. Jack Campbell, like I said, expected to get the start tonight for the Oilers. It has been 4 straight games where he's allowed 4 goals or more. 4-4, 6-4. It has been 5 straight games of 3+. Hopefully, he can find the form he had against Detroit on Feb 7, which was the game he was really good in, a .938 save percentage. Last time he played the Jets, he allowed 2 goals on 17 shots. It was almost a similar performance, I'd say, to Skinner last night, where, like, I didn't hate any of the goals, but he only faced 17 shots. You give up 2 on a couple of looks, then it's like, damn, like, your save percentage sucks, even though you just didn't get enough rubber to really get into a rhythm. And that's kind of the Jets thing, right? They do not, and we're seeing that as they struggle to produce offense throughout the year. They just don't get a lot of quantity. There's some quality mixed in there, but I'm just looking at their shots for at 5-on-5. They have not gotten north of 25 shots at 5-on-5 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. And they've been under that mark in 9 of their last 10. When you compare that to what the Edmonton Oilers usually do at 5-on-5, granted, their power play does help them a lot. They've done that in 3 of their last 5. In their last 10, they've done it in 6 of those games. So they do it more often than not. There's a lot of those games where they're in 30, not even the 25+ range, in the 30+ range at 5-on-5. The Jets just don't shoot the puck, and that leads to sometimes goalies having worse numbers against them in terms of save percentage.
Yeah, I think last night was just one of those games where you look at the stat sheet and you see, Skinner only had an 893 or whatever he did. But if you actually watch the game, yeah, I don't think anyone's going to sit there and be like, oh, God damn it, this again. So it definitely wasn't one of his best performances, but like we just spoke about, there wasn't really much you could even do to make it better. But I think just the idea of the Jets not producing a bunch of shots is they just don't have the offense they used to have. You look at that bottom 6, we spoke about it on yesterday's pregame show. Like, it doesn't even compare to the Oilers right now and what they're able to produce. So yeah, just the different levels of where they are, considering it was only a couple of years ago, they were really Stanley Cup contenders, and now here they are being basically carried by Connor Hellebuck every night.
Yeah. Taking a peek, Tyler Mulick said Matthias Ekholm has fought Blake Wheeler before, and I just checked his hockey fights card. He's got 3 tilts in the NHL, 2 in the regular season, 1 in the preseason. His regular season fights are against Gabe Landeskog back in November of 2021, and Blake Wheeler. It looked like this was like a line brawl. Oh my God. I'm pulling this up on hockey fights. I want to watch on YouTube. Yes. Yeah, it looks like a line brawl between the Jets and Predators.
Can you share the screen, Tyler?
Can I put it in the chat? I think I can put it in the chat. There you go. Yeah. If people want to watch that tilt, you can do it later. The link is in the chat. Maybe Matthias Ekholm wants to, have a little bonding moment with his teammates, show them that he's not afraid to stick up for him. Oh, yeah. This is like a full-on line brawl.
I think that's Ben Sherratt, number 8, who's going after everyone there.
And then, Wheeler kind of pulled Ekholm out of the pile, and then they started throwing haymakers. So not exactly a tilt where, Ekholm's glove isn't even off, and he's punching Wheeler. But, wow, what an intense moment this is. Nick Ehlers is fighting someone in this clip?
Yep.
Mayhem. Maybe we'll see some fireworks like that. It's a 5 o'clock Mountain Time puck drop this evening, everybody. So make sure you're settled in early. I'm doing homemade pizza while I watch the game, Liam. I thought you'd like to know that.
I just ate some pita pizzas for lunch before we jumped on the radio. What's this called? YouTube.
Yeah.
This whole internet thing, I can't catch up with it.
Not available on YouTube. Our bets for tonight, Liam. I know we I can maybe pull them up quickly here, but take us through what you like in this hockey game.
Well, the more we've spoke about it, I think the over is basically something that everyone should be betting on tonight. I hate to say it, but if Jack Campbell's between the pipes, we truly do not know what is going to happen. So you may as well try and win some money if he's in there. I like the power play one. And also, I guess, too, Hellebuck's been leaking them as well. So I would do that one. The power play goals, like we said, I think it's going to get feisty. So if you can get over 1.5, that'd be nice. But I'm looking at Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to go big tonight. I mentioned it on the other stream, but he has 35 points, career points against the Winnipeg Jets. So there it is. 2+ points for the Nuge, plus 155. I'll just go on Jays quickly. He went with the Oilers money line, shocking, and over 5.5 at 2.45, which essentially means if you put $10 on, you win $14.50, I believe. So that still won't bring him to even, but it'll get him a little bit closer if he gets there.
Yeah, I don't hate that one. I think you did the math wrong on mine because I've hit in back-to-back days now, Liam. I had a plus 300 bet with McDavid and Matthews, both to go over or both to get a power play point. And then and that should have boosted me up to like plus 4 units. And then I hit last night with the puck line.
But the puck line was only plus 137.
I know. So I've gained in the last 2 days, in the last 2 shows, I should have gained like 4 point some units. I should be at like 5.
But you were minus.
Was I?
Yeah, you went
I thought
under.
I was in the positives. Okay, my bad. I won't question your math. I'm 6-6 on the year. Liam's 3-9. Jay is 1-11. I'm going with the over 7.5. Boost that over up. I think we're getting 8 or more goals tonight. They had 9 last night. They can get 8 tonight. Jack Campbell versus Connor Hellebuck. Hellebuck has not looked good. There was a couple of plays yesterday. Never mind the goals, but like Hellebuck was roaming out of his net. I don't know what he was doing. He was not impressive last night. He looked rattled.
Yeah, it was a different Connor Hellebuck than what we saw on, what was it, New Year's Eve when the Oilers played him. It was like 2-1 game. So hopefully we get that Connor Hellebuck tonight, or we just chase him after 40 minutes again and we get to say big save Dave.
Yeah, hopefully. Connor Hellebuck has not been on a good run as of late. Neither have the Winnipeg Jets, but they're back on home ice and they should be fired up to beat the Oilers tonight. Hopefully Edmonton can keep their run going, make it a 3rd consecutive victory, and hopefully they get some luck on the out-of-town scoreboard as well. A couple of games to watch later tonight. Minnesota taking on Calgary and St. Louis taking on LA. So, hey, if everything breaks well tonight, the Oilers could move into a tie with the LA Kings, and since they hold the tiebreaker, they would jump the LA Kings. So Edmonton could, by midnight tonight, be second place in the Pacific Division. And that'd be nice. Sherwood Ford Giant key to victory quickly for me, Liam, is just going to be the same as it was yesterday. Don't give Hellebuck a chance to get his confidence going early. Get to him early. We saw yesterday he gets rattled if he starts giving up a lot of goals. The Jets will give you lots of looks. I say get to Hellebuck early and let the good times roll on a Saturday night.
Yeah, I'll just go on to the physicality kind of things. If Winnipeg wants to play that game where they're trying to push you around the barn, don't let that happen, and make sure you kind of manipulate the battle in a way into your own favor and sway it all the way.
Cool. All right, there you go. Thanks to everyone who hopped into the chat today on version number 2 of our stream. We almost hit 500 total viewers. That's still pretty solid. So thanks to everyone who made us a part of their Saturday morning. We are about 4 hours from puck drop between the Oilers and the Jets. Edmonton going for win number 3 in a row from the Sports Closet studio. This has been a Sherwood Ford Giant game day edition of the show. If you want to learn more about Sherwood Ford and their mobile service center, boom, link in the description of today's episode. We'll chat again Monday, hopefully